start your function. Now calc square has two arguments. Okay? The way that I declare an argument is I give the type and the name just like a declaration. So if I'm passing calc square, what do you think the num is? What do you think I mean by num? That's the number I want to square. So I'm passing to calc square the number I want to square. Does everybody see that? The second argument is square, so what do you think that is? That's the answer that I want to get back. So I'm going to have num, which is coming into the function, and I'm going to have square, which I'm actually going to put an ampersand, because that guy's going to come out of the function. Don't worry about that yet. Okay? Now, if I was going to write this is so easy to write. One line of code for this function. How would I write this function?
Square equals.
Exactly. That's all I need to do here. So one line of code, square equals what? Yeah, that's it. That's all this guy does. Functions are short. It's the calling of them that's the issue. No new code, really. Okay, same stuff goes inside of it. It's calling it that we need to worry about, okay? Yeah, I'm just not done. Okay, so there's calc square. You with me? Any questions on how to write calc square? Cool? Square equals num times num. Okay? Now, of course, in C++, we said you need to do what with every function? Yeah. Prototype. So in order for me, before I call it, I need to prototype this guy at the top. So I go up to the top, that's easy, I prototype it, put a semicolon at the end. Okay, now, I want to call this guy. So let's add a fourth menu option. What's that? Four, this is 4. I'm not done yet. I'm just going to fix the menu. I'm going to fix that, okay? Just need to fix the... Okay, now. How do I call? How do you think I call? I've written the function. Now I just want to call the sucker. Okay, so how do I call it? First of all, I need to have a num. Well, could I just pass it a 5? Yeah. Who thinks I could just put, so what is calc square waiting for? I forget. What are the two arguments? An integer num and an integer square. Is 5 an integer? Yeah, so could I just pass it a 5 if I wanted to? That would be fine. Okay, and then the second guy could be called anything. I just need to declare it, and it's going to put the answer there for me. So that's square. What do I call it? That's cute. Questions about how I called that function. This is an integer. It could be a variable. This is a variable where I'm putting the answer, and then I'm going to print out the result afterwards. Okay, let's try writing, I didn't print out another page, but if we continue with this exercise, we find I'm also asking you to write square. So what type of function is this, okay? function is square? Value return. Okay, so how do I set it up? So I'm setting up the function square. It's short and sweet. Try it. We're now going to write the function square. It's value returning, so what do I have to, what type do I give it? What'd you do for square? What'd you put for your type? Int? What did you put for your argument? I told you it has one argument, if you look. So what's my argument? Look at the first page under number 3. I didn't give you the argument, but if I'm going to square something, what do I need from it? Enough. Everybody with me? Okay? Well, there's a couple different ways of doing this. But what do I know I need inside a value returning function? What do I know I need? A return. And since this guy is called square, what am I going to return?
Square.
Okay, so there's a couple different ways. One way is just to do this. Return what? Well, I haven't figured it yet. So one way is just to say num times num. The other way is, and you might like this better, is to make a local guy called square. Say SQ equals what? And then this, whoops, sorry. And this time, what do I return instead of num times num? Does everybody see? Do you see the difference between a value, they're short and sweet? It's just how you format it, right? And what did I say about these value returning? They're mostly what? Math. Mostly math. Not always, I'll show you the difference, okay? But we're writing out the math, okay? Give it a type. What are the arguments? Do the calculation, return answer. See how that's how most mathematical value returning functions work. Any questions? So I wanted to do difference or multiplier, easy, right? Okay. So now the trick where I think people get stuck is the call. You ready? You ready for the call? So when I call this guy, I made a mistake by doing the menu. But all right, so if I come up here, and I just want to, there's 3 different ways I can call a function. One is, let me just change, I'm going to change this guy, square. Okay. So, first of all, I can go over and ask for a number, all right? Yeah, I'm going to change this, okay. So I'm going to declare in number. Bless you. I'm going to read in the number, and okay, so this is going to be the call. So what am I going to pass square this time? Number. So this is an example of call. There's 3 different things you can do to a value returning function. One is to assign it to a variable. That's why people, okay, I see puzzle look. What's wrong with doing that?
You don't assign the value.
Yeah, the whole idea of a value returning function is it does what? Okay, everybody stop looking at the screen, look at me. It's important. You're not going to learn this by on Facebook, promise. Okay? So if I call a value returning function, what is that function going to do? Return a value. It's my job to do something with that value. You see why this is wrong. Calling square that way is wrong. Because my value that was returned just got lost in space. Okay? So I have 3 choices. One is to assign it. So if I assign it to SQ, Now I have the answer. Okay? That's one option. The other option is to use it. So guess what I could do right here? I could actually put the call to square right inside the print function. And I don't want 5 here, you know. Okay, so does everybody see how, so what'll happen when I call this? It'll call it, it'll get the answer back and print it right when I call it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Smaller.
You can barely see it.
Okay, so here's square. It has the value, it has the argument, it has the return of the answer. The call is the trick. So the first option is to assign it, which I did, where did I do that? I keep making it bigger, which I don't need to do every time I push it. Okay? The first option is to assign it, which I did right here. Does everybody see this call to square? The second option is to, this is the third option, this is to print it, okay? And my third option is to use it right inside an equation. So this reminds you of what? What does this remind you of? Yeah, okay, the math, right? So if I write a function that's value returning, I can plug that sucker right into the equation. So I just remembered my little ditty. Store it, use it, or print it, sucker. Okay? Store it, use it in the equation, or print it directly. Those are your 3 options with a value returning function. Store it, use it, or print it. Okay. So, the only thing I really haven't talked about, so let's go through this.